Art sites started in 2000 in Greenport, and the idea was to make art accessible and also to show things that may not be as traditionally acceptable. We like works that push the edge a little bit. At the same time, we want to draw people in so that they can discover art and grow with it. When we moved here, we're on the Peconic River, so we're a little more focused on the natural environment, and we started showing a lot more environmental art. And it's been one of the main themes running through our shows through the years that we've been in Riverhead. This work is by Hava, and she's very interested in the microscopic patterns that you discover in nature if you look more closely. But she's not taking it directly. They're her interpretation. She's inspired by it, but she creates her own worlds with forms that look natural. So you may not be able to recognize what it is, but she's created a language that recalls that. One of the things I really like about this piece is that it creates a sense of overabundance of creativity and birth, and it's almost too much. There's this energy that you can't control. Darlene Trinenko is an interesting young artist. She combines a sensibility that looks and combines the natural environment, what humans do to the physical environment. And she often uses these little nails as both, it can be a person, it can be a thought, it can be a memory, and they're points of connection, radiating energy. And in this one, it almost has a reference to a landscape, or in this case, a seascape. So there's a reference to an environmental image that you would, that is actually quite familiar for artists. So these are Sue Heatley's ceramic sculptures, and they're quite wonderful because they're inspired by natural forms, but sort of combined with a more mechanical vocabulary. And she's basically inventing a new kind of life. They look like it's something you should recognize, but they don't look like anything you've ever seen before. This was done by Bob Brain and Leslie Reed. What I loved about them is they really focused their work on our site and the environmental conditions around us. So in our backyard, he burned a drawing into the grass, and he burned a symbol of the development and the golf course. And the act of burning is sometimes restorative. It actually helps vegetation to come back. This is a doormat, also by Bob Brain, and the image is from when he first started learning about the area and took some aerial photographs. But it happens to be our site. And this is the gallery, and this is the backyard, and he drew his painting right here. And I also like the fact that he does it as a doormat, because sometimes it's an indication of both how we treat our environment, and yet at the same time it's something familiar and in our life every day. We started Peconic Green Growth probably for two main reasons. One is our location, which is right along the Peconic River, so it made us more aware of our environment, and also how the river was basically ignored. It's also very polluted, and we have an environment that really isn't well cared for right here. Another inspiration was the exhibition that we held, curated by Lillian Ball, called to Action: Environmental Restoration by Artists. And what we liked about this show is it wasn't just about documenting or interpreting, it was also artists who actually had an intervention in nature that created positive good. And we were inspired by that to continue those efforts. The core value of Peconic Green Growth is about the integration of community and environment. And we want to include sort of art and exploration as part of all those as part of all that research. We're very interested in artists that do something to sort of inject awareness and action in social as well as environmental issues in communities. Also, while nature needs to be protected, it also needs to allow that integration with community, because it's a resource, and the more it's understood and used and loved by its residents, the more it will be protected.